So just to let everybody know, I am going to be recording this session. Those that are not able to attend today, because it is lunch break and not everyone gets a 12 o'clock lunch, I thought I would record it and then I can send it to those that are registered that weren't able to join us today. So my name is Angela Halverson and I'll be your presenter today. Of course, this webinar is called The Steps to Starting a Business. And you can expect it to last for approximately 1 hour, give or take, and that should include the question and answer period. So if you have any questions at any time, feel free to put it into the chat box. You can either do it, to everybody or just strictly to me. I will get everybody to please mute your phone just so that there's no background noise. And feel free to unmute if you have any questions at any time. And because there's a small group of us, if you want to ask a question during the presentation, I'm more than happy to answer them as we go along. If you have to leave during the presentation, don't worry, I understand that you may have to go. I will be sending out a survey at the end for you to fill out, and I would appreciate if you do complete the survey, and that will give us a chance to plan some of the future webinars and what we're looking at. So before I get started with the webinar, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and my position here at Rainy River Future Development. And if you hear me say RRFDC, that's the acronym or the short version of Rainy River Future Development Corporation. And so I'm the business investment manager here at Rainy River Futures. And I've been here for over 20 years. It'll be 21 years in December. My job here is to help small businesses with business planning and information services, as well as training and access to capital for business. So we do have money available here as well to borrow. We don't have any grants, unfortunately. We do have loans available. Sorry, I see that there's somebody trying to get admitted into the webinar, so just give me 1 second. So the person that just joined, I'm going to mute your phone just because there's some background noise. Before I do that, would you just, I see a number where your name should be. Could you just identify what your name is so I know who you are?
Yvette.
Oh, hi, Yvette. I saw you trying to get in earlier and it came and then it went again. So, but you found us.
Yes.
That's good.
Okay.
Can you see though? Can you see the webinar or are you just on the phone?
I'm on the phone.
Okay, so I will do my best to, a lot of the things that I'm going to be showing are going to be on my screen. So if you do decide to try and get in, you were trying to get in earlier, so you may have had the right link. So if you want to try that again, feel free.
Okay. Will this be recorded?
This is going to be recorded and it will be sent out to everyone afterwards. So certainly if you want to do it that way is fine as well.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to mute you for right now and then I'm going to continue on. So I was just starting in the introduction side of things. Get back to my intro. So much of the time that I spend here is assisting with business people and aspiring entrepreneurs to either start or grow a business. And I also spend a lot of time helping people to find appropriate financing for their business. And sometimes that may be loans or in some cases grants as well. In my spare time, I also have a small home-based business and it's called Dreamweaver Ranch. It's a horse ranch where I give riding lessons, I do birthday parties and small group related events. I've been in operations since 2014 and I just recently reopened because of COVID. We were closed to the public until August 15th. So I may use some examples of my business when we go through the webinar. So if you hear me talking about that, it's my experience with my own business. And of course, I'll have much experience with other businesses as well. So enough about me, and hopefully we're going to go right now and I'm going to share my screen so that you can look at the steps to starting a business. So this document here, I'm hoping everyone's able to see it, is what we're going to go over. But actually, before I get started, I'm going to go back to where we, oops, it paused. Just 1 second. I went to a different page and now I have to just share it. Okay, so this is the webinar that we're in. I want to tell you a little bit about the Community Futures program. So hopefully this will be loud enough on your screen. So a little bit about Renewing Futures.
Established by the federal government in 1985, Community Futures is a community-based economic renewal initiative, helping rural Canadians to start or expand a business and to help sustain and improve communities and their local economies. Each Community Futures office is staffed with a team of professionals that provide a wide array of business and community economic development services. These services strengthen and diversify local economies, offering financial assistance, business counseling and advice to individuals and small businesses, and entrepreneurship development and training. Typically, the services of Community Futures are targeted to entrepreneurs requiring customized financing that is not normally available from traditional sources. One of the keys to the success of Community Futures is that investment decisions are made by an independent board of directors, sensitive to the needs of their community. Directors are volunteers, generally from the business community, possessing an outstanding commitment to making their community a better place to live and work. Past surveys have indicated that the strength of Community Futures is in their volunteer boards. The knowledge of the local markets, the business environment, and the people are the basis in achieving such effectiveness and success. With 269 offices across Canada, Community Futures are well positioned to offer local solutions to local economies. As a leader in business development, innovation, and community development, together they are showing the world that Community Futures means business.
All right, so that is a little bit about the Community Futures program and what we do here. I'm going to switch over now to the steps to starting a business. 1 second. So I'm going to go ahead and start with, I have 15 steps, so I'm going to do my best to get through these all during our 1 hour session that we have here. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see. So step number 1 is to look at your individual situation and do an assessment and see, is entrepreneurship right for you? So this website, and I'm going to be sending you links to all of these websites. This website is called the Entrepreneurial Potential Self-Assessment, and there are 50 statements, so it's kind of like a questionnaire that you will fill out, and at the end you will decide whether or not, or it'll help you to decide whether entrepreneurship is right for you. So it always starts with looking at your situation, where you're at in your life, where you want to go, making goals, that kind of thing. And so this one is definitely helpful to make that assessment of yourself. This particular website is through the Business Development Bank of Canada, who we work closely with. And they've made this nice assessment that you can go ahead and try. Step number 2 is to look at doing your research. So, when you're looking at doing research for your business, one of the best resources is the Government of Canada website. So canada.ca, and then you go in through there to get into business and industry. Again, I'll be sending you this link. This is a really great place to look at some of the steps that they're recommending, as well as doing some research. So I do recommend you go through here, look at some of the information on planning a business and choosing your business name. One of the good ones to look in is getting registered and making sure you have any permits and licensing that you may need to get started in your business. So once you're working through and doing some of this research, the next step you're going to do is you're going to start by making a plan. So this next website is through the Futurepreneur program, and it is a link to a business plan writer. This is a really great tool that is free to use online. Futurepreneur Canada is a program where you can look at different funding options. Futurepreneur is for 40 and under, but you don't need to be 40 and under in order to use the business plan writer. So this is an interactive business plan writer where you can sign in, and it will give you the option of filling it out online, and then at the end it'll actually download into your computer in a Word document. And what's nice about it is that it has the different components of a business plan, and when you click into them, it'll give you some assistance. You can take some courses on there. It'll also give you an example of how to fill out. So for example, in here, it says the pricing strategy, and it will actually allow you to pull that information, the example, into your business plan, and then change it and make it so that it's relevant to your business. So each one of the components are there, and they have a lot of different courses. They also have examples of the different kinds of business plans. There's templates, there's some videos to watch. It looks like there's a couple of webinars as well, and some how-to guides. So it's a really good place to start when you're looking at making a business plan. Now the other option is we have a business plan template that I will be sending you in an email as well. And our template is a little bit more simplified than this one. I call it a meat and potatoes business plan. So I don't have a lot of extra stuff in there. It's just really the meat and potatoes. So the one that we do is actually a business plan that is a workbook. So you fill out, it asks you questions and you fill it out. I'll be sending that out to you and you can have a look at it. You can fill it in and it's in Word as well. And the financial section of the cash flow forecast is in Excel. So those are some tools again to work you through business planning. I will mention too, a lot of what I do here is helping with the planning process of starting a business. So I do a lot of coaching and one-on-one with people that are looking at doing a business plan. And I also recommend, whether you need financing or don't need financing, you should still do a business plan. I know when I started my business, I completed a business plan, even though I didn't really need any financing to get started. I had a farm, I had horses, I had, everything that I needed. I had some of my own money to put in order to get some extra things like extra saddles and helmets and things like that I needed to use in the business. So I self-financed, but I found it was a very good exercise to do the business plan as well. So that it gives you a blueprint of what you're going to look at when the business actually gets up and going. The next one is about planning your finances. So once you have your business plan complete, you should have a really good idea of what you're going to need in order to plan your finances. So this is actually the template that you can use for cash flow. Cash flow forecast is very important when you're starting to look at business planning. This cash flow template also has a tutorial so that you can do it on your computer. And then planning your financing, meaning what you're going to look at for loans, loan guarantees, investments, any of those types of things. And I'm going to talk about financing a little bit more in a little bit. So once you have an idea what you need, the next section is to look at choosing a business structure. So I'm just going to wait for that to pop up on the screen. So choosing the right structure for you. There are three main types of business structures and a couple of others that aren't as common. The main type of structure that we have for a business is called a sole proprietorship. And that's sole proprietorship means one person chooses to start a business, and it's in that one person's name. The alternative to that would be a partnership where you have more than one person involved in the business, two or more. So it can be, you know, a larger number. There's no real limit as far as the number of people you can have in a partnership. And so those are two different legal structures of a business. However, the other alternative would be to incorporate. So when you're looking at a sole proprietorship or partnership, in the eyes of the law, you and your business are one. So sole proprietorship and partnerships are one person or more than one person starting a business, whereas an incorporated business is a separate entity from you. So it has, you know, it separates filing of tax returns. It has a separate accounting. Everything is separate when you have an incorporated business. So depending on the type of business that you're starting, you may decide to incorporate. I will say that a lawyer can give you advice on what the best option is for you. However, I can tell you that most businesses start out as a sole proprietorship or partnership, and then eventually incorporate down the road as the business grows and expands and gets larger. So this document here tells you a bit more about all the different types of legal structures for your business, and also links in to help you to decide what's best for you. So that gives you the information that you need for choosing a business structure. The next one here is about choosing a good business name. So business name should reflect your product or service that you're offering, and or you may confuse your potential customers or prospective customers. You want to think about how your business is perceived. Pick something that's easy to pronounce and remember, and make it unique and distinctive to avoid confusion and legal issues. So selecting a good name, I'll give you an example of when I started my business. I chose the name Dreamweaver Ranch as my business name. However, that wasn't the first name that I chose. The first name that I chose was Dreamweaver Horsemanship. And the reason I did that is because the act of working with horses is called horsemanship. And I had to think a little bit ahead and look at who am I trying to target when I'm looking at offering these services to the community. And I knew that the majority of my customers were going to be people that really weren't horse people, that were looking at getting into looking at getting into horses, or just wanted some lessons, or perhaps a birthday party. And I had to really think about, do people understand what horsemanship means? So when I was doing a market survey, I did a market survey for my business. One of the questions that I asked was, you know, will you choose a business name? So I had actually written down 4. And Dreamweaver was sort of set in my mind because Dreamweaver was the name of my first horse. So therefore I wanted that in it. But I had chosen Dreamweaver Ranch, Dreamweaver Horsemanship, Dreamweaver Equestrian Center, and Dreamweaver Stable. So when I did my survey, it came back and Dreamweaver Horsemanship was actually the lowest choice on the list. So I asked people to choose what they liked for a name. And when I really started to think about it, I thought, you know what, people that are not into horses don't understand what horsemanship is. So, but most people will understand what a ranch is. So that's why I ended up going with Dreamweaver Ranch. So making sure that you select a name that reflects, you know, what your business is and what you're doing, and will also, you know, appeal to your prospective customers is very important. You know, we all know of companies that you hear the name of it and you don't have a clue what their business is. So you want to try and make it so that it's not confusing for your customer. And when you have a business name chosen, and you may actually choose a couple of different names, number 6 on the list is to register your business name. So with the Government of Canada, you will register your business name so this one on the screen that you see here is actually with the federal government, but you also will likely need to register under the provincial government as well. And I have another whole page on what you need to do to get registered, which I'll be sending to you by email afterwards. So with the registration for the federal, then you will you can do that online and registering your business name. So if you've chosen your structure as a sole proprietorship, and then you've also chosen your business name, you can go ahead and get registered. So that is the next one. And again, I'll send that out to you on the email. There's also a chance that you may need some licenses or permits. So depending on where your business is located, as well as what type of business you're looking at starting, you may or may not need some licenses and permits. So this particular website will show you what you're going to need in order to get registered. So you'll start by hitting Launch BizPal, and it will tell you what you will need. And again, I can help with that as well. So if you have any questions on that, please let me know. Another thing you're going to need for your business is business insurance. So there are different types of business insurance that you will need, or you may or may not need, in fact. So one of the most common types would be your property insurance. So if you're going to be running a business, you want to make sure you're protected against damage, theft, or loss of business property or inventory. So that is your commercial property insurance. And then also you want to make sure that you have liability insurance. So protecting your business against third-party liability claims. So if somebody slips or falls at your place of business or gets injured. And depending on the type of business that you're running, if you have, say, for example, a board of directors, you may need errors and omissions insurance. So this is not as common as the first two, but there's also, likely going to be a buy-sell agreement in your insurance. So that's where, if one person decides to use life insurance, and again, I don't want to get into too much detail about insurance, but the main two types of insurance are your property and your liability. So if you don't own the property, you will need to then get some content insurance in order to make sure that your business is protected and your property and inventory is protected there as well. So looking into insurance, another step 8 is to look at your accounting system. So there are many different ways that you can keep track of your bookkeeping. Just waiting for this to load. So there are, I'm just going to check and see if you guys have any questions yet. Let me just pop this up. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting it to show me the chat box. Perhaps that is because I'm on screen share. So yeah, I'll check that in just a moment. I don't want to spend too much time. So looking at keeping track of your accounting and bookkeeping, so there are some free and low cost versions of accounting software out there. What does it do and how does it help you? This is going to explain a little bit more about that. So there's a list here of the different types of accounting software that you can use. And so some of it is free, some of it is paid. And so you can certainly go through the list. There's quite a few of them. The most common one I find is Sage Accounting. So that used to be called Quicken or QuickBooks. No, sorry. Simply Accounting is now Sage Accounting. And QuickBooks is probably the next most common type of accounting software that I see people using. Now, I have seen a bit of this Wave recently, because I'm guessing because it's free, and I haven't really had a whole lot of experience with many of the other ones. So choosing your accounting software, there's also a very good reference online, again, Government of Canada website, on keeping business records. So this is where you're going to look at, you know, what constitutes income, what constitutes expenses or property records. Those are the types of things that you're going to keep track of. It has a description, okay, what constitutes income. It shows a list of what you need to keep as far as papers. And then down here, it shows the expenses. So any, you know, business expense is a cost that, you know, that you incur in order to do business. And so there's a list of what you need to keep as far as records to keep for your expense records. And then the property records. So anything that you sell or trade, then you need to keep records of that. So this gives you a very detailed list of, you know, what you need to do in order to keep. And there's some forms and guides that the government that puts out there. This one, RC4022, is actually very good, and it has a detailed list of what you need for income and expenses. And it corresponds with your income tax return at the end of the year, which is nice. So the next part is business taxes. So do you need a business number registration for your federal? Also, if you're incorporated, what you need to know for business taxes for a corporation. Business and professional income. So this is when your business and professional income go together. So for example, if you're sole proprietor and you also work outside of the business, you may have to incorporate those two. It talks a little bit about GST and HST and how to register for them. It also gives you information about payroll, getting registered for them, and then a little bit more on charities, any excise taxes. Again, it depends on your type of business. You obviously, if you were a domestic business, doing business in Canada, you wouldn't have to worry too much about tariffs and excise taxes and things like that. But if you're importing, then you might need to look into stuff like that. Step 9 is looking at your business account. So I usually recommend, if you have a business account, or sorry, if you have a bank account, and I just happen to pick up, here's Royal Bank, I usually recommend you start there and see what kind of terms and business accounts they have as far as what's available, what the fees are, those kind of things. And this one is particular for business banking. And then in our area, we also have CIBC. There we go. So if you're banking at CIBC, then you can also look at what they are. So again, I recommend start out wherever you are banking now, and that way you can usually access everything very easily with your personal and your small business as well. And then the last one here is Alterna. So there you have some accounts and business banking solutions as well. So that's step 9, is opening a business bank account. Now I do recommend you open your business banking account, but you also open a savings account that's attached to your business account. And I recommend putting your tax dollars in there. So if you're registered for HST and you're collecting HST, then you can put that money in your separate bank account so that when it's time to remit to the government that money is there. Sometimes when you put your tax money in your regular account, you don't realize that that's not money that's truly belongs to you, it belongs to the government. So if you have that separate account, then you'll know it's there when time comes, so you have to remit it. Step 10 is to look at setting up your business location. So how to choose the right location for your business. So you're going to have to look at, oops, survey that popped up. Looking at, what your size is, the layout, the location, appearance, anything that has to do with zoning, environmental regulations. And again, it's very specific to the type of business that you're running. If you're, in retail versus wholesale, it's not as, or say even manufacturing, for example, you don't necessarily need a downtown business in order to do manufacturing, for example. So that's something to look at, is getting the right location for your business. Step 11 is, you're almost ready. So getting your team ready. So now you have to look at, getting employees, and here's a really great website on learning how to hire the best employees for your business. So it looks at, bringing new employees on board, what you need to do, steps to hiring, finding good candidates, etc. So, again, another really great tool to look at that information on employees and getting set up for them. Step 12 looks at promoting your business. So you're just about to start up, you need to get some customers, so you want to start promoting your small business. And this is where you're going to look at a really good marketing strategy. So in this case, again, some really great information on conducting your market research. This is market research, and defining your target market is still in your planning stage. Developing your plan, your budget, and your branding. That is more in the development stage as well. And then actually, when you're going to start up the business, then you're going to move into the implementation stage. So that's sort of this outer level here. And each one of these you can click into to read up on more of that. For example, if you're looking at branding and what that is and positioning your business. And again, a really great website for looking at marketing your business. And then the next step is actually getting started. So, opening your doors, getting everything prepared, how you're going to operate the business, how you're going to have it all set up. So this is the next step, which is step 13, is your actual startup. Looking at operational efficiencies, getting your, supplies and inventory in place. Inventory management, so how you're going to keep track of that, and then also if there's any certifications or anything else that you need and how you become certified is in here as well. So again, this is the Business Development Bank of Canada helping you with the operational side of things, and that's basically the major ones. So the major steps to 13 is right up to startup, but there are two extra steps that we've put into this that will help you with once you're up and going. And step 14 is to actually reevaluate and revise your plan. So 99% of the time, things don't go quite exactly as you anticipated when you first started business planning. So I know for myself, I found that, I was focusing at the beginning on lessons. I'm going to teach all these horseback riding lessons. But what I came to realize after starting was that there was a high demand for birthday parties and group events and, some learning, equine assisted learning type of programs. So I had to adjust and manage my business in order to look at where the demand was coming from. So as I went along, it really helped me to look back and reevaluate my business and then also my plan. So this is actually a really great website as well for planning, making your business more sustainable, improving your business management, and finding advice and things like that. So looking back, you know, once you're started, I would say no more than 6 months. Take a look back, pull out that business plan that you did initially, and look back and say, okay, what went as planned? What didn't go quite as planned? And how do I, you know, what path or which, you know, business path, I guess is the word I'm looking for, do you want to take going forward? So you may change a little bit from where you originally started to where you want to go in the future. And then there's also one more step, is that you may decide after a couple of years in business that you want to grow that business. So, you know, if I decided to take my business from, you know, a small home-based business, I may decide I want to go and expand and, you know, build larger barns, and perhaps I'll bring in boarding opportunities where you know, people can board their horse with me, or, you know, if I want to get into training other people's horses, or if I want to bring in clinicians and have people come with their horses and learn that way. So, you know, there's different options that you can then look at and say, okay, well, this business is doing great. Now I want to get, you know, a little bit bigger. Perhaps you bring in other products or services that you maybe didn't, you know, anticipate at the time when you started, or in some cases you do anticipate and you just want to make it, you know, to that next, get to that next level. So that takes us to the end of the steps to starting a business. I'm just gonna bring back to here. Does anyone have any questions so far that you want me to address? Because I've got a couple of other things that I'll go over. Everyone's being awfully quiet. If you're trying to talk, you need to unmute your mic first before we can. Okay, I don't hear any questions right now. So I'm going to go over the upcoming webinars. So I am going to be doing another webinar on applying for financing with Rainy River Future Development Corporation. So that's going to be coming up on, sorry, I just need to get my calendar up, and because I don't have it on our website just yet. I'm just getting going on planning the next one. The last one was on the 19th. The next one will be applying for financing will be on Wednesday, September 2nd at noon, so a week from today. So if you're thinking about looking for financing, you certainly can partake in that. And I will just go over one other website that I was hoping to get a chance to show you. And I'm going to share my screen. So this is a really great website for looking at the different financing options. Oh, you know what? This is the COVID one. Let me just find. There we go. And I'll send you a link to this as well. This is the Government of Canada website in order to look for different financing options. Financing meaning financing and grants, so loans and grants. So this is looking at support for local businesses, or for your businesses, but it's also going to show any COVID support. Now, because this is the steps to starting a business, I'm going to choose that it's, you know, more for business startups. So I'll use an example here. So what's really nice about this is that you can pick, you can choose from some options for getting started. So you're looking for, and in our case, we're looking for other government support, not COVID support. And you're specifically looking for funding and loans, and in some cases you may look for tax credits, wage subsidies, those kind of things. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to look at grants and loans. And if you've already have secured some money, then you can put that in there, how much you've already secured. But you're looking for at least $0, and you're going to just go unlimited. We're going to leave this pretty open for this example. Your main goal is to start a business. So in some cases, you may also be looking to buy or lease equipment or property as part of your business startup. So we'll choose those. Okay. So now tell us about your company. So you are in Ontario, specifically in the northern region, and we're in the business of. And so I'm going to just look at, what would be a good one here? I'll just pick the top one, accommodation and food services. So this is a Canadian-owned business. We are in the rural and north. And just for this example, I'll choose women. If you happen to be Indigenous, have a disability, or you're under 40, you can choose those as well. But we'll just pick 3 of them for this example. We have, let's say, 2 employees, and we are either incorporated or not incorporated. And so for this example, I'm just going to put not incorporated. So that would be a sole proprietorship or partnership, and also for-profit, because this example would make, is for the for-profit type of businesses. So we've chosen everything we need. Now we're going to choose see your results. And one of the things that it does is it gives you a list of all of the things that you've just chosen. So if you decide, oh, you know what, I forgot to click that I'm under 40, you can always go back and click it and then go okay, and it'll refresh. But in this case, under funding, we have 3 results. One is funding to enhance supply chains with AI, so AI-powered supply chains. That's not going to be really relevant to most businesses in this. I don't even know what AI stands for, to be honest with you. We do have this one, Starter Company Plus. So just going to show you as an example when we click in. So Starter Company Plus is funding up to $5,000 to help new or existing businesses to hire, grow, plan, export, and more. So they are currently accepting clients. Money is up to $5,000, non-repayable. So often it won't say grant, it will say non-repayable or conditional contribution. Under the funding limits, they will cover a maximum of 75 of eligible costs. So then you're thinking, what are the eligible costs? That's where you'll click in and you'll go to get the details, and it's actually going to push you over to their website, and it'll give you more information on that program. So then you can go through and it'll help you, and it'll say who can apply, how to apply, etc. So you can read through all of that. So I'm going back here to our results. Another one here is the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund, which is the Northern Business Opportunity Program for small business startup projects. So you're looking at funding for Northern Ontario startups. So this program will give you up to $200,000 to cover as much as 50% of costs to establish a new business in a priority sector in Northern Ontario. Money is up to $200,000, non-repayable again, so that's that. It's a grant. I mean, they don't say grants, but that's what it is. Funding limits are 50% of eligible costs, and you can stack this, what they call stacking. You can actually apply for this and other government programs at the same time. So they allow that. And again, you just click in, get the details, and then you'll go right to their website and it'll show you, okay, who is eligible, what is eligible, what is not eligible. it'll give you the guidelines, the different funding, and then it actually goes down right at the bottom here, apply now. So you can actually start your application process on this one right online. So that's that one. So I'm going to click this up, and now that was the funding. Now we're looking at, here are the different loans and capital investments. It's showing 10 results. We're at the very top, Community Futures Network of Canada, Community Futures Ontario. Those are both us. So again, you're looking at funding for small businesses, SME, small and medium-sized enterprises, and looking to start or expand a business in rural Ontario. So again, that is what I do, is I help people to look at starting a business, help them through the planning process, access to capital to get their business started. We also partner with other organizations such as this BDC, which is the Business Development Bank of Canada. So that is, again, you know, another option is we can connect you with some of these other organizations. So these are all Business Development Bank of Canada. Women in Technology, for example, newcomer to Ontario, or newcomer to Canada. So there's something called this Ontario Catapult loan for social enterprises. So if you happen to have a social enterprise, which is something described at, oh, it's not currently accepting applications. A business that has a social aspect to it is what a social enterprise is. Funding to expand a business into this Quebec organization. So, you know, may not be relevant to you exactly. Now, it also will give you, you know, any COVID support. Again, most COVID support is for businesses that are existing, so we won't get into that too much. But if you're looking for some advice and expertise, again, we're at the top of the list here, Community Futures Network of Canada. Paro Center, this is, and I notice, I think everyone online today is female, so Paro Center is for women entrepreneurs in Ontario. So they can assist as well, and they're located in Thunder Bay, but they do represent all of the Northwest and even into Southern Ontario now. Community Futures, BDC, Business Development Bank Canada, also has advisory services that you can get assistance. But again, you know, if you're from the Fort Frances area, Rainy River District is what we cover. So the business has to be located either in any community within the Rainy River District. But if you happen to be outside of that district and you're planning on opening a business elsewhere, there are Community Futures programs all over Ontario, all over Canada. So, you know, please feel free to click into some of these Community Futures Ontario. It will take you to the Community Futures Network of Canada, and you can find one in your local area. Somebody like me that will be able to help you along the way. So again, this is innovation.canada.ca. I will send you that link so that you can go in and put your specifics in. I'm just going to go back to the top. So you'll put your specific information here into this search and refresh, and then you'll be able to go and find something that's relevant to you. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share and come back over here. Okay, so Jessica is asking if there's okay, so the webinar on applying for financing through RFDC is, yes, specific to applying here at Rainy River Future Development, and I will go over the application form and everything that you need in order to apply. Jessica, I've done that one before, so I'll send you a link to the recorded webinar if you want to go ahead and watch that, or you can also, you know, certainly attend the one that's coming up next week. That's fine too. So either way, I certainly will send you that link. Just looking to see if there's any other questions anyone has. I don't see any in the chat box. But I will open it up now. If you do have any questions you'd like to ask me, feel free to unmute your mic and go ahead and ask the question. If you prefer to ask me privately, certainly we can set up a time to talk privately, either by Zoom or by phone. Yeah, I think with that, I'm going to make sure I send all this information out to you for sure this afternoon. And if you have any questions, you feel free to get in touch with me. Just going to give one more second in case there's any last minute questions. I guess not. So I'm just going to say thank you very much for attending today. I'm going to be sending out the links and also a link to an evaluation of today's seminar so that we can get some feedback on that. Once the recording comes in, I will send you that as well, and feel free to contact me at any time if you have any questions or want to set up an appointment directly with me. All right, with that, have a great day, everyone, and take care, and we'll hopefully be able to chat again soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.